Today is Monday, the 4th of November 2019. A pleasant good evening and welcome to News Today on KMTV. My name is Emmanuel Davis, presenting tonight's edition of our news. Many thanks for joining us. Let's now bring you stories making the headlines tonight. Senator Prince Johnson of Nimba County and clergyman predates the rigging of the 2023 general elections in a move to keep the ruling party in power, calls on opposition political parties to abandon their protest plans. Liberia's ambassador to the United Nations says the country has reaffirmed its commitment as state party to the Non-Proliferation Treaty and the African Union Initiative. Ambassador Judy Andy rallies support in the United States of America for investors to come to Liberia in an effort to help move the motherland forward. These plus many other good developments are packaged tonight in our news presentation. We take this break and we come back, we go straight into the news. Please keep watching. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us tonight on News Today, only on KMTV. We now bring you our first development from the U.S. Liberia has reaffirmed its commitment as a state party to the Non-Proliferation Treaty and the African Union Initiative. The initiative is aimed at making Africa conflict-free, said Liberia's ambassador to the United Nations, D. Maxwell Kemaya. The Liberian diplomat, speaking recently at the 74th session of the United Nations, said Liberia will continue to be a contributing party or partner to global efforts in promoting peace and security around the world. He at the same time hailed the United Nations for mitigating conflict around the globe, something he noted is commendable, but added that more needs to be done.
We hail initiatives of the United Nations aimed at mitigating conflicts around the world, especially in relation to the work of the UN Office for Disarmament Affairs, charged with the responsibility to promote nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. The UN Office for Disarmament Affairs also promotes disarmament efforts in the area of conventional weapons, especially landmines and small arms, which are often the weapons of choice in contemporary conflicts. And these are weapons commonly used in civil conflicts, as was the case of Liberia. Liberia will continue to be a contributing country to global efforts in promoting peace and security. On behalf of His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia, the government and people of Liberia, we reaffirm our commitment as a state party to the Non-Proliferation Treaty and remain supportive of the African Union initiatives aimed at ensuring a conflict-free Africa, and appreciates the UN Security Council for its newly adopted resolution S/RES/2457/2019, titled Silencing the Guns in Africa by the year 2020. On conventional weapons, Liberia is greatly concerned about the illicit trade, possession, manufacturing, and the circulation of small arms and light weapons, and its negative effect on humanitarian and socio-economic development. Pursuant to the commitment to its global obligations, the government of His Excellency President Weah reaffirms its unwavering support to the Armed Trade Treaty.
Meanwhile, Ambassador Kimaya explained some efforts by Liberia to enhance national accountability and the flow of arms in the country.
The Liberia National Commission on Small Arms has drafted 2 bills for enactment into law by our national legislature. The Liberia Arms Trade and Transfer Act of 2019 to enhance national accountability and transparency of the flow of arms, and the Liberia National Commission on Arms Act to increase the scope and mandate of the Liberia National Commission on Small Arms. These bills were reviewed and validated by the Liberia International Humanitarian Law Committee, stakeholders from the security agencies of the government, and relevant civil society organizations. These bills will be submitted to our national legislature upon return from their annual agriculture break next year, 2020. Let me admonish all of us that the fight is never over until our dreams and aspirations are achieved. Our continuous persistence will certainly pay off. A safe and happy world can only spur happiness and productivity where everyone can live, not in fear, but in sustained peace, security, and development. My delegation looks forward to a successful session and reaffirms our support to the work of the United Nations.
2 retired international footballers sharing the stage at a well-organized Liberia Football Association honoring program have encouraged young players of this country to do more in order to achieve their goal. Unlike in the past, Chief Patron of Sports George Manewia challenged the honorees and other players of Liberia to now maximize the current opportunities they have to help take the game to another level in the Republic. As for James Deba, Liberia's most celebrated soccer star, who buttressed President Weah's statement, warned the current breed of players of Liberia to do more and go the extra mile, as well as muster the courage to take Liberia on the map of football again.
Our team today, the young people have to take responsibility because the government is behind the team, but we can't play for them. I listened to everyone when they were presenting my friend here, Goal King, Goal King. How can you be a goal king and every tournament you score 3 goals? Then you're a goal king? It's not possible. Goal king, you want to pay respect? Let me pay respect to someone in the house. Well, let me call my good friend, my former captain, my cousin, Mr. Jarvis. Mr. Jarvis. This is the goal king.
What I want to say, I got a problem with the modern football players now. When I talk about problem, I talk about constructive jealousy. There's no constructive jealousy between them. That man, His Excellency, I became high goal scorer and most valuable player in 1986. 26 goals. 26 goals. He became high goal scorer and most valuable player in 1987. A year after I became high goal scorer.
What's goal king?
We share 51 goals. We share 51 goals between us. 51. We got yet to see another player replicate that. I'm not criticizing you. But with all the resources, everything available, John Mayer can make us proud. Where's Goki?
Well, earlier, the president of the Liberia Football Association, Mustafa Raji, speaking at the honoring program, assured the gathering that he and team members will continue to work hard to ensure the game improves under their administration on a gradual note. His statement was flanked by one of the award winners, Anthony Kokwe.
It was a challenging period. We took over in 2018, running into 2019, where we got involved with a FIFA restriction. Given the support of my colleagues, a high-working executive committee, we are pleased to inform all Liberians today that FIFA has lifted the sanction imposed on Liberia. FIFA, through its commitment to Liberia based on the performance and reports provided by this administration, has assured us of the first ever Liberia Football Association airport that is going to be constructed at the SKD Boulevard worth 1.5 million. As we speak, $500,000 has been transferred to the accounts of the Football Association, pending conclusion with the contractors to commence work. We've also, during the period, approved 3 different artificial turfs that will be constructed around Liberia, including Buchanan Grand Bassa County, one at the SKD practice pitch, and to the people of Garnersville in Tusa Field. We believe that the provision of these facilities is going to help us build and change and transform the way of play of our young brothers, our kids, and our friends.
And winning this award as an individual, it wasn't done single-handedly. It was a teamwork. So at this time, I would like to thank every captain, coach, my fellow sports writers, members of the public that's allotted to the public vote. I mean, you showed that we have strength in the public by getting the highest numbers of votes against all nominees. So I'd like to take this time to say many thanks to you, and thanks also to all of my team members, Team Mantina, the Daily Observer newspaper, my employer, and the KMTV Liberia family. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Liberia's cultural ambassador, Judy Andy, has called on potential investors to tap in the investment opportunities of Liberia. She was making specific reference to the tourism sector of the country when she addressed schools of investors in the United States of America recently. According to her, Liberia has beautiful tourist sites that need to be explored by tourists. She called on them to allay their fears and come to the country as it is a good place for investment. Let's now bring you Madam Andy speaking more about this.
And I will tell you why I want you to invest in Liberia. In the agriculture sector, you can invest in Liberia. In mining, you can invest in Liberia. In tourism, we are very virgin. We have some of the most beautiful tourist sites in Liberia. You can come and invest. And I'm not offended when people say things about Africa. I will only be offended if you don't try and you follow fear. So I'm asking you to invest in Liberia. Now, don't forget, we are now moving to a stage where we are embracing everyone to Liberia to come and see what we have. Our president is very young. He's strong, he's moving, he's promising. Our country is young. And when I say young, I'm not talking about because we are the first independent republic. In Africa, we are the beacon of hope, even though Nigeria has a population, but we're older than Nigeria. Okay, so I'm saying invest in Liberia because we have a lot of opportunities. And then when you look at the historical ties of America and Liberia, then you are at home. Because how sure are you your great-grandparents did not come from Looking Town and West Point and all of that? So come back home and invest. And to anybody, it doesn't have to be African Americans, to the world, Liberia is ready for business. That we have influence on the NIC, our government is ready for business, equal opportunity for everyone. So we say, go, forget the fear factor. That's what brought South Africa to xenophobia. Because when you with a lot of fear, you start to do other things. Life is about taking risks. Coming to LA for me was taking risks. I didn't know I was going to be burned because the fire is all over the place. And then if you go, people tell you, say Atlanta, Georgia is the worst place to be. But Atlanta is not the worst place to be. Atlanta is a small Hollywood. Can you imagine that, right? Tyler Perry says a Hollywood and it's a Hollywood. So let's start this here and let's move Africa. And I'm asking you to invest in Liberia. I'm giving you an open invitation. When you get to the airport, just ask for me. I might not be the one to talk the business part of it, but I have influence that can show you the business opportunity.
Making the case for Liberia in the United States of America is cultural ambassador of this country, Madam Judy Andy. Well, viewers, if you just join us tonight on our news platform, this is a reminder that you're watching News Today on KMTV. My name is Emmanuel Davis, presenting tonight's edition of our news. Many thanks for joining us on our presentation tonight. This plus many more developments are coming up. Prince Johnson predicts the raging of the 2023 general elections in a mood to keep the ruling party, the Coalition for Democratic Change, in power. We take this break to be right back. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. We bring you more developments. The newly inducted Director General of the Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU, Edwin Harris, has assured national government that his team will be very robust in executing its primary functions across the country. Mr. Harris, speaking at his induction ceremony, sounded a warning that non-compliant institutions operating in the country will be accountable to all for all it does in this country.
The FIU for the last 5 years has concerned itself with building its own capacity internally, coordinating with other agencies domestically, setting the pace for its next level. I believe this is the time for the new level of the FIU, that will see non-compliant institutions be met with the laws and authority of the FIU. It is a time that, in keeping with the FIU law, that we go after the proceeds of crimes derived from predicate offenses. It is the time that the FIU activate its sanction and other administrative action in keeping with law in preventing the dual crimes of money laundering and terrorist financing. It has become a relevant concern in many quarters, both locally and internationally, as to why there has not been any conviction on money laundering or terror financing cases in Liberia. Based on my initial assessment of the FIU, my reply to this pertinent query is the observation of the issues surrounding the mandate of the FIU, which cannot prosecute or secure a conviction in keeping with its function and powers enshrined in Section 67 of the 2013 Financial Intelligence Unit Act and the Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Act of 2013. This mandate only allowed the FIU to exercise its power as deterrence against a would-be wrongdoer. It is time that all stakeholders work together collaboratively in preserving the integrity of our financial system by disallowing criminals to contaminate the system through laundering their money derived from crimes and using our system to support other acts that are against the law. It is in this direction that the FIU will be amending the Suspicious Transaction Activity Report and the Currency Transaction Activity Report Regulations of 2016 in keeping with Section 4.1 that gave the FIU exclusive power to amend and repeal this regulation for one that gave the FIU exclusive power to amend and repeal this regulation from time to time.
Well, Edwin Harris is the newly inducted Director General of the Financial Intelligence Unit, He was speaking at his induction ceremony, excuse me, sounding a warning that non-compliant institutions operating in the country will be accountable at all times, and his leadership will at all times uphold legal standards in the discharge of the duties assigned. Let's now go to Nimba County, where Senator Prince Johnson, and of course a clergyman, has predicted the rigging of the 2023 general elections in Liberia. He said this will result into serious confrontation between civilians and of course government institutions, including security apparatus. He was speaking recently when a team of KMTV reporters visited Nimba County.
I see this. 2023, it will be rigged.
Rigged?
Yes.
What make you think so?
Prophetically speaking, I'm a man of God. I'm a man of God. It's not something I'm seeing by this government. I say it will be rigged.
By this government?
By this government, to remain in power. Okay? And that will bring the government and the civilians into confrontation. So if I run for president, it is rigged, I will lose both the Senate and the presidency.
So did you see the end of that vision? What will happen if it is rigged?
I see some confusion between civilians and people. I see more demonstration, I see more chaos. I'm a man of God.
The citizens are crying every day, Liberia is high. Why are all the lawmakers?
If it don't happen, what I tell you, don't believe me.
Why are the policy are put in place to make things good for the citizens who put you in offices?
Well, we do our best, we advise, but you cannot take the horse to the river and force it to drink. Because if I were president, I would prioritize salaries. Salary put food on the people's table. It made a civil servant to buy things to the market, money goes around. But look how we the senator 4 months, we haven't gotten paid. The first of us kind of saying,
Are you disappointed?
we're going back to Taylor's Day.
Are you disappointed?
I'm supposed to be disappointed when my people are crying. Copper rent in Nimba County expensive, burger rent high. So if you want us to vote for you, we are prepared. But the first time we cry, then we will continue to cry on the second time. That the cry will continue until 2023. It will make us change our mind because I won't be stupid to come to Nimba and say, let me vote for the simple. They will throw me off. Because I tell you, there was massive rigging during this going election. My school, look at my children here, we can see. My wife and my children, we went to my school to vote. I didn't get one vote from there. So my wife betrayed me. I betrayed myself.
But did you take an issue to the National Elections Commission?
I care less. I know what happens, so I keep quiet.
Well, Senator Prince Johnson of Nimba County. Meanwhile, the Nimba County lawmaker says the re-election of the CDC government headed by President George Weah will heavily depend on the dividend of democracy that Nimba will benefit. He at the same time used the occasion to call on opposition political parties and individuals to remain patient and avoid constant protests.
So I kept my promise. You must be a promise keeper. A demonic character will not keep promise.
So how do you feel about working with this government, in this government as well?
It's my making. I gave my support for 6 years, and I'm watching keenly, and I've asked all opposition parties to disregard demonstration, December 1st or whatever. Let us all sit and watch and see how we move toward 2023. The re-election of this government will depend on the dividend of democracy that Nimba County will reap. Because the role here is not us. It was initiated by Ellen. We know that. The Logwato and this one, and the Ganta Yekepa, it was initiated. But what we're doing now is to remind them that what the previous government signed, please live by it. So we didn't sign it, it was signed before. So what we want is prioritize Nimba, relocate the Ganta, the San Nicolas Hospital from the train track, do the relocate the market or renovate the market in San Nicolas, do the market in Ganta. You know what I mean? These are projects we might benefit from. People want real change.
And
yes, Because I'm a former general, I'm a politician. When I tell you this, I do.
If you have to become president, what could be the difference you're going to make apart from being a senator right now?
I will make one key difference, decentralize the country, let the people elect their officials to govern them. Though you are elected democratically, but if you have the dictatorial norm, that means to centralize government, not to decentralize it, then democracy and dictatorship can work together. Because the promise we made to decentralize, it should be done legislatively. I will have sent a bill to the House and have it done.
Well, from Nimba County now, we are back in Montserrat, where a diaspora Liberian, Deconti Dore, has donated motor engine wheelchairs, amongst other things, worth over US $9,000 to physically challenged Liberians in Dupo Road and surrounding communities, amongst others. The donation, according to Deconti, is an initial step in giving back to society after being inspired by songs from local Liberian artists in the country. Meanwhile, the Liberian artist at the same time expressed gratitude to the US-based Liberian and underscored the need for more of such initiative. But first is Deconti, flanked by Jonathan Kofa alias Takunje.
Been donating since then, and we're still doing it. But we bless God for the call from the artists that they keep embarrassing us to help back home. So other people look at it and they want to do it too. Oh, just a law, just a law. We're seeing what our people need. Our people really need it. So we have nothing that we need from them. We don't want a government job. We don't want to be opposition, but we're just doing it as a common Liberian. And we want for more to come, from other Liberians here in the diaspora, in order to give back because we need it. We really need it. So we try to do more. This is the starting. This week costs for like 9,000, yeah, United States dollar, and to ship it all. I can't tell you how much we try to do it, but I can just stay advocating, and we try to advocate. And I'm so proud of him that we try to make sure that Liberian youth see our presence in the diaspora.
Well, I feel this is very superb. I feel that this is very intelligent. I feel this is very concurring when it comes to giving back to Liberian people. You know, having to see a young guy like this, you know, into such a project like this, you know, it made me feel like NGO supposed to be doing much more than this. But now I see a young man doing it, coming from the diaspora, being a Liberian, and thinking about his brother down here. So imagine we have like 1,000 of, you know, like a person like this, man. Obviously, they're going to see our downhearted fan and brethren. Obviously, going to be having a way to express himself in the society. So I feel very super. I feel very happy for this kind of step that he's taking right now. Well, actually, I think that the music speaks already. You know, I've been moved so many times by my song, and when I sing songs for people, automatically they walk to me and give me respect. So through my message that I've been relating to my songs and what have you, and my friend of mine, he was like, but Takun, if you can preach it to the music, then I think I see me and ways to do this.
Well, one of the beneficiaries of this gesture, Gregory Cooper, thanked Deconti for the presentation.
I feel so very much excited. Yeah, was like inadequate because my brother came through the scratch like knowing him, and you know, as a brother and friend, somebody that he always told me, say, oh my man, I got something big for you. I got something big for you, but you never told me you never told me what you were already bringing up. Yeah, but at least God touched your heart that he came through with this, and it's very big that I know how to say thank you to him because it's so big that I seen it like a million to me. Yeah, so I say everybody out there can follow his step as they come in to think about the other brothers, the less fortunate Liberians and all that. Yeah, as we call it, Sogos and our brothers that are out there, and you know, like if we can have like 1,000 of this, man, we'll be motivated. It will be good for Liberians, bro.
Well, Gregory there thanking Deconti for that gesture and calling on others to emulate the example of Deconti, bringing us to a close of today's edition of News Today on KMTV. But before going, a recap of the headlines. Nimba County Senator and clergyman Prince Johnson predicts the rigging of the 2023 general elections in a mood to keep the ruling party in power, calls on opposition politicians to abandon plans of protest. Liberia reaffirms its commitment as state party to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and the African Union Initiative says Liberia's permanent ambassador to the United Nations, D. Maxwell Kimaya. And Liberia's cultural ambassador, Judy Andy, rallies support for the forward march of the country, calls on investors to take interest in the climate of the motherland, specifically the tourism sector. Well, many thanks for joining us tonight on our news presentation. Better still, you can join us on other social media networks available to you. News Today comes up tomorrow at 8 o'clock and other news times on KMTV. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Emmanuel Davis. Good evening.